What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be looking at a whole bunch of news stories. It's hard to keep up with it doing this once a week. They just stockpile. But today we're going to be looking at Loona making history, being on a short list of K-pop groups on the American Billboard charts, how Sony is able to sell the PS5 at a loss and still make money, and we're going to be looking at another Faceplate company that is challenging Sony. All that, plus more, next. All right, welcome to the Casual Consumer Network. Here we go over a multitude of topics in the medium of entertainment. I am one of your hosts, Dark Fox, and before we get into the main stories, we're going to get into things to mention. So first off, we're going to be talking about the new Netflix series that's going to be coming in 2022. It's going to be called Sonic Prime. I can't help but think that they're doing this because the Sonic movie that came out was so popular. I had my doubts about the movie. I didn't think it was going to do that well, but being a child of the 90s, I did go see it, and it turned out to be a lot better than I thought it would be. But it looks like, they're going to use that to their advantage and kind of shove everything that they can, riding the wave off of riding the wave of popularity off of the movie. As far as prior installments of, Sonic, I haven't been interested in them. It just doesn't seem like they're, building off of the foundation of what, it was built on. Sonic's fast, he fights Eggman and, other things. And then, all the other characters that they've included into it, it's hard to keep up with. It's every 5 seconds they're adding a new character. Whenever Sonic Adventure came out in Sonic Adventure 2, you had Shadow and then the Bat Girl. I can't remember what her name was, but and those were great additions to it. But then, they just started going crazy with it, so I stopped keeping up with it. It was more things I can do with my time than that. So I'm probably going to only follow this on the big screen. I'm really looking forward to what direction they go with in the new movie, Sonic 2. I can't wait to see what they do in the next movie, especially since they're introducing Tails. So it should be really interesting as far as all the, subplots, just, with this new show coming out. I'm probably not going to see it. It just doesn't interest me. Next up, the Prince of Persia reboot that they're doing is delayed indefinitely. This sucks so much because I was really looking forward to it getting the Shadow of Colossus treatment. What I'm looking forward to with this game is for them to not touch the story, just update the graphics. I don't usually mind a reboot that, sends it in a whole different direction. You know what I mean? Somebody else's brain baby, and they see something else that they can put into it or send it in a different direction. I have no problem with that at all. However, with this story being as good as it is, I don't think there's any reason to change it. Just update the graphics to the next gens and the gen prior to that, the PS4s, the Xbox Ones, and then PS5s and the Series X and S. I really would like to see them do that. All right, and that's it for the things to mention. Let's move on to the main stories. Now, before we get into the main stories, I want to remind everyone to go ahead and like, share, subscribe. It really, really helps us out, and you'd be doing us a great service, and we appreciate it. But anyway, moving into the Loona sensation. Admittedly, I've been listening to K-pop for a little bit now, like about 2 years, going on 3 years. I kind of got thrown into it by mistake, but I was pleasantly surprised at the sound that they were, working with. I recently discovered Red Velvet, and they are by far my favorite K-pop group now. Little interesting that they're not featured on, any American billboards, but it is what it is. I'll continue listening to them no matter how popular they are in America. They're a really good group, have a really good sound, and I am really digging them. But let's move on to the article. I'm not going to read the entire thing, just what stood out to me with this particular article. So it starts out, South Korean girl group Loona debuted their song Star. And just to interject real quick, I listened to the song. To me, it wasn't anything spectacular. They have a whole bunch of really great songs in their discography. I think I'm pronouncing that right. But there's a whole bunch of other songs that are fantastic. Star is, in my opinion, mediocre. So it's really funny that this is the one that made it to the American Billboard charts and not one of their other great songs. But continuing on this week's pop airplay tally, and while it may kick off its time on the ranking in last place, totally fine, their presence is still worthy of noting. The tune marks the vocal outfit's first placement on the list of the most played tunes on pop radio stations in America, and they are now in a relatively small group of musical acts from their home country who have managed to do so. Amazingly, Loona is just the sixth musical act from South Korea to land on the pop airplay chart at any point. They follow in the footsteps of pioneering faces and well-known figures, and they are now in some truly incredible company. So far, just the following half dozen musicians from the Asian nation have found their way to the top 40 only tally: BTS, Blackpink, Psy, Monsta X, Suga, and now Loona. The only one that I'm really familiar with is Blackpink and Loona on that list. I'm gonna have to do more research and look into these other musical groups from Korea, so just gonna have to do more research on that. But just to conclude, Loona is a fantastic group. They have a really nice sound. They're not my top K-pop group that I listen to. They're definitely the top 5, but Star being the one that bridges the gap between K-pop and America, being featured in America, it seems really kind of silly because again, I'm gonna beat this dead horse. They have so many other great songs. Moving on to the next main story, we're gonna be talking about Sony and them selling the PS5 at a loss and still making money. Again, with this article, I'm gonna move through and pick out the one that really drives the point home. So according to this Polygon article, Bloomberg reported as far back as February 2020 that scarce components had driven the manufacturing cost of the PlayStation 5 to $450. Analyst Michael Patcher in an August interview speculated that Sony would break even on the $499 PlayStation 5, but lose money on the $399 digital edition that lacks an optical disc drive. Elsewhere, in Sony's financial report, the company increased its forecasted sales and operating income for the PlayStation division over the fiscal year ending in March. Sony now expects another 30 billion yen, $285 million in sales for its game and network services segment, and an additional $380 million in operating income for the year. Sony also reported a PlayStation Plus subscriber base of 47.4 million users, with 114 million monthly active users of the service as of the end of the year. So what this highlights to me is that it's such a versatile company that I don't want to say it's too big to fail or anything like that. I don't think any company is beyond that, but it's just amazing to me how they have so many avenues of making money. It's crazy. Even one of their biggest claims to fame is, the PlayStation console. And, even if that they lose money on that, they still get money from the subscriptions to the PlayStation Plus and things and other things that they offer. I know that they have their fingers in other industries, but it just seems so crazy that even they're losing money, but they're still making tons and tons of money through other avenues. But in that same vein, other companies, in my opinion, I think should be able to operate, even if, Sony doesn't agree with it, especially if it's such a fantastic idea as this next one. If you remember, I went over another company that was doing this exact same thing. It was called CustomizeMyPlates.com. I went over to their site. It was a freaking fantastic site. It was beautiful, well put together, but they were threatened by Sony that they should, cease and desist or they'd be faced with legal action. Well, we do have another company that moved up and they're daring Sony to try and sue them. and this one's coming from videogamechronicles.com, and we're gonna go through that. I want to read through the entire thing because this is super interesting to me. Even from, customize my plates, it was such an interesting premise. I want to go through the entire article. So companies selling black faceplates challenged Sony to try and sue us. Canadian peripheral firm Dbrand has announced it will soon be taking orders for its own range of black PlayStation 5 faceplates and dismissed suggestions Sony could stop it. The company, which is mainly known for its phone cases, is allowing customers to sign up for notifications for when its matte black PS5 faceplates will become available. Asked by a Reddit user if it feared similar legal action over its faceplates, Dbrand dismissed the notion, writing, "We encouraged them to try." A caption on its Reddit post also reads, "Sue us, Sony." Dbrand said it could later expand its range to offer other PS5 faceplate colors, but for now, it's focusing on matte black with a curated array of middle skins. That's super dope. I'm a fan of the black, PlayStation consoles. From the PS2, 3, and 4, I really feel like they should have kept that going. I have no idea why they decided to change that up. It was so sleek, so modern. It just looks so good. And I'm so glad that somebody is, giving people what they want, in different variants too. So, you've got options, which I absolutely love. However, on the flip side of that, I am nowhere near a legal scholar. I'm not a lawyer. So I have no idea in what area even customize my plates were, infringing on. So I really hope that this one goes through, just because it's such a great idea. And if Sony's not going to jump on it, maybe they eventually would have. But if Sony's not going to jump on it, allow someone else to fill in that gap. But tell me what you thought about it. Tell me what you think about Loona and their song Star making the Billboard charts. What do you think about this faceplate, controversy that's going on with Sony and these two other companies that are making faceplates? Leave that in the comments. We really appreciate it. While you're down there, go ahead and like, share, subscribe, and you guys have a good day. Peace.